Hey everybody.
Hello, good afternoon.
I'm Miranda.
I'm Phoebe.
And we're Quintessential Baker. And we're so excited to have you guys here today because we're going to be making rye bread. There is no rye in this bread, but you would never know because it's got all the look and feel and yumminess of real rye bread. So,
do you think we should wait for people to join us?
We're gonna chat for a minute or two like we always do.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say one thing for our future YouTube watchers and people who are watching this video from the website. This is also going to be posted under the regular sandwich bread recipe because it's exactly the same technique, just slightly different ingredients. So yeah.
And the sandwich bread is my family's favorite bread. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I haven't had rye bread in a really long time. So this recipe is exciting me.
I just said I wasn't going to do this dance, but I can't help it.
It's exciting.
Rye bread. All right. Well, people are going to show up when they show up, but we're going to get going here. So
okay.
We are going to be measuring everything into our mixer bowl.
Again, if you don't have a stand mixer, standard mixer's fine. Hand, beautiful.
Just be strong and fast.
Yep.
That's all. So we're going to start out with 400 grams of our grain-free flour blend. You can use version 1 or version 2. This is what am I trying to say, Phoebe?
I don't know.
Oh, grain-free.
We'll get it out.
Please today. Grain-free flour blends are in our baking guide, and the baking guide is available for sale on the website in our store. And that is all you need to follow along with all of the recipes from here on out. You'll have all the information you need. It's only $10. So
get on over to quintessentialbaker.com and go to our store, and you will see our
baking guide. Yeah.
Whoops. A little over. Scoop a little out of that. Look at that.
Look at that. Perfect. So
400 grams.
I have not done it yet, but I'm wanting to try this recipe with my nut-free flour and then do whatever tweaks are necessary to make that work. So right now this is the almond flour containing version, but stay tuned. I will.
And this bread is vegan.
Yeah.
So if you're vegan, there's no animal products going in. So this is automatically grain-free and vegan.
Okay, so now is secret ingredient. Well, not secret because I'm about to tell you. Is buckwheat flour. Now you're going, Miranda, but the regular blend has buckwheat flour. It doesn't have this kind of buckwheat flour. This is the kind you can buy in the grocery store. This happens to be Bob's Red Mill. Just regular whole grain buckwheat flour. And we wanted to show you guys the difference between, this is the Bob's Red Mill right here, and Phoebe has the light buckwheat flour that we get from
which is in our blend.
Nuts.com, which is in the blend. Now, we're using some of this in addition to the buckwheat that's already in the blend to create the look and a little bit of the flavor, because this has a more intense flavor, more like a bitterness. It approximates the flavor of the rye flour. So that's why we're going to do this. So we're going to need 25 grams of this dark buckwheat. And we're getting there. Don't go too far, because it would be no big deal if I did. Okay, and then we're going to do 34 grams of psyllium and magic sauce. Psyllium
holds everything together.
Yeah, and this is at 8% for those who are interested in those sorts of geeky details. Makes for a nice bread without too much stretch.
Hi, Pat. Hi, Allison.
Yay, welcome. Okay, and then we need some yeast, and we use the instant yeast because that way we can just mix it all together into the dry ingredients, and you don't have to worry about proofing it in advance. So a tablespoon and a half of the yeast, and then of course some salt for flavor and to keep the yeast from getting too excited. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's one of the functions of the salt in a recipe is to keep the yeast from doing too much. All right, So 2 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Okay. And then
Sugar. 2
sugar.
tablespoons of sugar.
So sugar is mostly for the yeast. It does add a little bit of flavor, but not a huge amount. So if you want to reduce the carb load of the bread, you can totally leave out the sugar or reduce it. And just know that if you take it out of the recipe, you're going to have to let the bread rise just a little tiny bit longer. Yeah. So now we get to one of the flavor components that helps this taste like rye bread, and citric acid is what I use. I also have another secret that I'll tell you about in a second, but we're going to make this bread with the citric acid. So it's a 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid. If you are not celiac and you are eating gluten-free and grain-free for dietary reasons, lifestyle choice, and you can handle a tiny little bit of wheat here and there, just know that King Arthur flour makes a rye bread, deli rye flavor. It does contain a small amount of wheat and rye flour, but the main flavor component is acetic acid. So if you found some acetic acid, which is the acid that's in vinegar, you could use that instead of citric acid, and it would probably taste more authentically rye bread flavor. So that's just an option if you're not really, really dogmatic about it. So that is all of our.
So next is
yes.
caraway seeds.
Yes, and that is another flavor component that's very important. Make it taste like rye bread. It's gotta have those caraway seeds. I put a range of 1 to 2 tablespoons, but I love them, so usually I put 2. Right? There's that flavor, right, that you think of. When you think of rye bread.
I don't really cook with caraway seeds.
I don't either.
What else do you use caraway seeds for?
My family of origin, my dad would always put caraway seeds in carrots, just a simple.
Ooh.
And it's supposed to help. Caraway seeds are supposed to help with digestion.
I was gonna say.
So they're like traditional to have with like a heavy, like a roast pork. You'd have carrots with caraway, and that would help you digest the pork.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That sounds really yummy.
Yeah. All right. So that's all of our dry ingredients.
Yep.
So we're gonna mix this up.
Give it a little zip.
If you've got a stand mixer, you can just spin it around.
I usually use a whisk.
Yep.
Just combine all the ingredients.
So Phoebe, why don't you measure our 460 grams of water? We've got some water that's already warmed over here.
Yeah, you just want it to be warmer than room temperature, right?
Well, with the instant yeast, it can go up to 120 to 130 degrees, like it says right on here. Yeah, between 120 and 130. So that's actually that's warmer than a hot tub. That's out. So if you stick your finger in, and you can stick your finger in without going, that's too hot.
Yeah.
Then it's not too hot, and it's probably like if it feels like a hot tub, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that level. So we're gonna do a seed cake with caraway. Oh yeah. So Allison says she made a seed cake with caraway seeds. Very nice. Yay. Yeah, I think there's a traditional filling in like Scandinavia somewhere that's caraway seeds.
Oh,
like a ground up caraway seeds.
I need to learn more about caraway seeds.
A Victorian recipe. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna have a tablespoon of oil. Any kind of oil that you like. I like olive oil, the light olive oil, because it has the health benefits of olive oil, but without the intense flavor. I save the extra virgin stuff for.
Yeah, I was using a lot of extra virgin in a lot of the baking. Doesn't taste too bad in the bread.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But when you're baking other
like cakes and stuff, yeah. Okay, so we've got our water measured out. We're gonna turn on the mixer and dump it in all at once. There's no need to be slow about it. All right. Okay. And then we're gonna scrape down the side to make sure that all of the dry bits are getting mixed in. And it's gonna be very goopy and soupy at first, and then even just within this couple moments of spinning, it's starting to come together. I like to give it a little higher just to beat out any lumps. So if you're doing this by hand, you're gonna wanna smush against the side to make sure the lumps are getting squished out.
Yeah, I usually do it by hand, or I have a hand mixer that I use.
See how goopy it is? It just wants to fall off.
I have a hand mixer that I use, and I only do it a little bit, but then I really want to get underneath all of, the flour that might be stuck in the middle there and just really whip it good. Yeah. Getting all those lumps out.
Exactly. The psyllium likes to soak up the water, and sometimes if it's not distributed well throughout the flour, it'll get a little lumpy here and there, and it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes they bake out, sometimes they show up through the end product, and it's not as nice. So
yeah.
Hi, Nicole. Welcome. Yeah, we forgot like our pile of dishes over there.
That's okay.
All right, we gotta clear our way for shaping now. So what I'm gonna do is just get all of the sides scraped and everything down into like a lump in the middle, mostly just because it comes out of the bowl easier that way. And I'll show you guys. It's kind of, it's softer and stickier than you would expect, right? Like if you're used to making wheat bread,
it's totally different.
There's no kneading, right? That didn't take any time at all.
No, we don't have to knead it.
You're going to have to do your exercise some other way. Sorry, guys. Like, this is too easy. Go to the gym for your arm workout and save time making bread.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to get a little bit of dusting flour.
I want to throw this.
Oh, yeah. I'm too busy teaching.
I know.
You can, refresh that and go. All right. So we're just going to cover the countertop with a little bit of dusting flour so it doesn't stick. And I went and got rid of this before I needed to. Okay. So we have already preheated our oven to 500 degrees. So that's important that the oven be fully hot all the way to 500. And we have our baking pan. This is an 8x4. This is a really nice quality one. I think King Arthur Flour sells these really nice quality, heavy, but you can just, the ones 8x4 pans.
I have a glass. I use glass ones at home, and they're a little bit bigger than this. And it's
probably 9x5.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll just get a squatter loaf rather than taller, but it's all good.
But you know what I want to say?
Yeah.
And it's probably similar with this. If you add too much water to this bread, it's just going to poof up more.
Yes.
So if you want a poofier bread, add a little bit more water. I did it accidentally and figured it out.
Yeah. So the only danger with that is that it sometimes creates a pocket at the top and it's dense at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, trade off. Anyway, so we cut a piece of parchment paper that fits right down.
I never do this part. Miranda's a fan of it. I usually just grease the whole pan.
That works too.
And it lifts. And I guess I use a knife to loosen the edges when it comes out, and I just go whoop, and I just pop it out.
Yeah. So we have that ready to go. And what we're gonna do with, Phoebe, maybe we do want to tip the camera down. Yeah. So you do that while So I'm just gonna flatten this down a little bit. It doesn't need to be any particular shape or anything. Just about the width of your baking pan, and just kind of flatten it out. And we're just gonna do a little roll. And this is just a technique that I learned over the years from bread baking. It just kind of helps create a little structure on the inside. It's really subtle. It's not that big of a deal. It just makes it an easy way to create this nice little lumpy loaf. And if you've got extra flour on the top, you can just brush it off. It's all good. And then I take the paper and I transfer the loaf with the seam down right into the center, right? So here's our little loaf. And then you can just pick it up and nestle it right down into the pan, right? So you're going to see that it's right about a little lower than the level of the pan itself. So you can barely see it, right? And when it's done, I just cover it with some plastic, and that way it holds the moisture in while it rises. And we're going to let this rise for 30 minutes. And by the time it's done rising, it will be just cresting over the top. It will not get really big like you would expect wheat bread to do. And that's fine because it's got a good crumb inside. It doesn't need to go any bigger than that. So what we have done is already baked some bread for you guys earlier today. And now we can show you what it looks like. I'm just going to wash my hands off. Making a mess. Okay.
That's the best part of baking.
Yeah. So basically, let's talk out. So 30 minutes rising while your oven is reaching 500 degrees. And the recipe as it stands right now has, you put it in at 500, bake it for 15 minutes, then you turn the temperature down to 350 and bake it for another 35 to 45 minutes. However, I just tried it this morning with this loaf. Let me show you guys. Just preheating to 500 and then putting it in and turning the temperature down right away to 350 and letting it bake for like an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes. And I think that works a lot better. So I will update the recipe. As you can see, I can't stop testing things. Like, I got to figure out the best way to do it.
It's got a nice crust on the top.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yep. So let's cut a chunk so everyone can see how nice it is. So there is our rye bread.
I want to smell it. I'll smell this piece. Oh, that smells so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
So yeah, you're gonna put it in the oven and it's gonna bake for that. Follow the instructions on the blog and the recipe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change it. It'll be about an hour and 10, maybe an hour and 15. You won't have to worry about it getting too dark at the 350 degrees, and it will the moisture will bake out and it'll be nice and stable structure on the inside. That's what I was trying to do, is create a bread that wasn't going to collapse after it baked. And then you let it cool for about 20 minutes in the pan, and then you take it out on a cooling rack and let it finish cooling until it's room temperature. Any warmer than that, you might have a little bit of gumminess, but let it fully cool and then you'll be good to go.
Delicious, delicious rye bread. And this is the same recipe for the sandwich bread.
Yeah, basically exactly the same technique, just slightly different ingredients, because you're
Right.
not going to have the other kind of buckwheat and you're not going to have the citric acid.
Exactly.
But it's pretty much
the same process of building the bread and making it.
Yep. So yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Shoot them at us. We can answer some questions while
If we can
everybody is
scroll down.
Oh, right.
We're still
See?
trying to figure out this.
Yeah, we're noobs.
All right, Nicole says gorgeous.
And
Thank
Allison
you.
said cut a slice.
Which we did.
We cut it open.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, we can cut an actual slice out of the bread so you can see the stability of the bread too.
Yeah, it's nice and strong, but also, flexible. And if you let it cool in a plastic bag, like after it's mostly cool, like it's still just a little bit warm, put it in your plastic bag that you're going to store it in. Oh, I should mention that. It'll keep on the counter for a couple days and it has pretty good texture. If you're not going to eat it completely within that time, I suggest slicing it and freezing the slices individually. And then you can have fresh bread anytime, pull it out of the freezer. And
That's what my family does. I'll usually make 2 loaves when I do a batch and let them cool, slice them up. One I put in a bag and put it in the refrigerator. And we just use that. The other one, we just freeze slices, put it in the freezer, and then pop them in the toaster and they're good to go.
Yep.
Let's see.
Good to go.
Scrolling.
Yay. All right.
Okay.
What else? Anything? Oh,
What do we have coming up?
okay.
Let's talk
So
about
we have
what
we have
we've got some cool stuff
Yeah.
happening, people.
one more weekend of local to Ithaca cinnamon bun sales.
Yes, which have been going
Melissa's.
very well. Thank
Yes.
you to everybody who is supporting us. We
Yes.
appreciate it so much.
And we also have a vegan version now that's totally been tested, and I think it's good enough.
Really
so
good.
if anyone needs vegan cinnamon buns, let us know.
they're really good.
And then so that'll be done, because Sweet Melissa, is going to shift into ice cream making season and not be making cinnamon buns.
Mhm.
But we are going to start teaching classes at Apple Pie D&Y, Apple Pie and DIY up in Lansing at Marion's place, and it's really, really, really cute. There's like a
super cute
1950s like pink
retro
vintage
kitchen.
so fun. She's got all the tools. It's great. So our first class is going to be April 5th. Did we decide on a time? 6 to 8? Something like
Yes.
that. Yeah, a couple hour class. And we're going to make pizza and pasta.
It's gonna be delicious.
So you come, you'll make pizza, we'll eat pizza, we'll make pasta.
You take pasta
We'll
home.
Take pasta home. We'll probably cook some up too so everyone can have a taste. But yeah, I think that's going to be really
gonna be
fun.
so fun.
Yeah, like bring your own wine and make a party out of it, right?
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay, so that's all we got.
Enjoy the rest
coming
of your day. Happy
Bye.
baking, everybody.
up. Bye.